Hello my viewers and welcome back to my channel. Now, in a shocking but not so shocking display of ignorance and entitlement, a Pamkala woman has sparked controversy with a video that she claims is satire. But beneath the thin veil of humor lies a sinister attempt to undermine the progress of black-owned businesses and the black community. Now, the woman's video, which pretends to promote earrings only for Pamkala women, is a blatant mockery of black entrepreneurs who have worked tirelessly to create spaces for themselves in industries that have historically excluded them. But one Pamkala man has called out her hypocrisy, pointing out the glaring double standard. While black businesses are finally gaining recognition and catering to their own community, this woman dares to ask why Pamkala people can't do the same. Now, the answer is very simple. We black people have been marginalized and excluded from these industries for decades. It's only now that we're reclaiming our space and creating our own opportunities. So join me as we break down the entitlement and ignorance behind this woman's video and explore the importance of black empowerment in the face of systemic exclusion. Take a look at the video. I will be right back.
So here's a controversy I didn't think I would be wading into, but apparently I'm going to. Here's a clip.
Hi, I'm a white business owner. And I'm here to show all you white women my new earrings. Only for white women.
So that video popped up on my For You page for some reason. I'm not really sure why. And I was very confused. Now, as it turns out, this woman doesn't sell any earrings, doesn't sell anything. But she was doing what she calls satire. She labels that video and a lot of the stuff on her page satire. And as I'm watching it, I'm just thinking this.
You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
So it took me a minute, but I was able to figure out, I think, the point she's trying to make that she thinks is so thought-provoking and brilliant, but really it's just ignorance and another example of what the right is doing with this performative confusion. They pretend to be confused and they just need answers, but actually it's just bullshit and ignorance. So if you've been on TikTok for any length of time, you've probably seen businesses promoting themselves as either black owned or black centric in the products that they're selling in the market that they're trying to reach. And while there are lots of creators that fit that description, this woman here that we just looked at seems to be commenting on one particular black woman who has her page and her business. I'm going to play a short clip from her now. I would encourage you to go follow that page. And if she has stuff you're interested in, be a patron of that business. But here she is.
Hey y'all, my name is Chantal, owner of Chantal J, where I sell dope Afrocentric jewelry for black women.
So here's my disclaimer. I just want to be really clear. I am not here to fight battles on behalf of Miss Chantal or on behalf of black women. Not my intention. They don't need me. They're just fine. But I do think I felt compelled to respond because I do present like this. And maybe, just maybe, if a coherent response comes from somebody in this package, maybe Miss Peppers, the white lady, or her friends who are in the comments cheering her on, telling her to keeping up the good fight or whatever the hell they're saying, and there's a lot of them, maybe it'll hit a little different, probably not, but I just wanted to be clear about that. And look, I know a lot of you can see this coming already, but I just want to articulate it for anybody who isn't caught up yet. So here's the controversy. Here's the great point that Miss Peppers thinks she's making. Okay, so we have creators like Miss Chantal who say things like, my business was formed for black folks. It's black centric. We are targeting black folks to sell our stuff to, okay, on the one hand. And then you have Miss Peppers over here, and this is her awesome, brilliant point that only she was smart enough to come up with. She's saying, well, if people can get on here and say that their business is black centric for black people, and that's okay, and we don't criticize them for that, well, then I, as a white woman, should be able to get on this app and say, I'm selling this for white people. Why is it that I get criticized for saying this is for white people, but it's okay for them to say it? All right, that's the issue. Okay, so this question is for Miss Peppers. Miss Peppers, why do you think that there are a bunch of creators out here selling stuff specifically catering to black folks, especially within the beauty industry? Let's call it fashion, for clothing, for jewelry, for makeup, for all of these things, skincare, hair care. Why do you suppose that there are a bunch of individuals and small businesses out here trying to cater to that community? Why do you think? Why do you think? Why do you think? Ooh, you're never going to get there. It's because those industries have shut out black women for decades, probably centuries. They have never catered to that community. It's only barely now that these industries are catching up and realizing this whole market that they haven't addressed and haven't taken care of. And look, I don't claim to be an expert on these industries. However, I am married to a black woman who is an influencer in the beauty and skincare and makeup game. And so I've learned a little bit by hanging around and by listening and paying attention. Here's one thing I learned. Here's just one little nugget of information that you, Miss Peppers, probably don't know. And that's this. Forever, the beauty industry in America, probably in the world, did not put out makeup that matched dark skin tones. It's only in the last 10 years that it's gotten better. Like more skin tones have foundation and products that actually match their skin tones. I know makeup from a distance by watching my wife do all this stuff. But the reality is the industry has not only failed to cater to these people over the years, it has completely ignored them. Like products didn't exist, especially for makeup that catered to them. And what started to make things better, it was within the last 10 years or so, and it's really largely due to Rihanna, the performer, starting Fenty, which had a lot more tones to match lighter, darker skin tones and to get better matches for everybody. There are plenty of other companies, I'm sure. This isn't a full history lesson. This is to illustrate the point for Miss Peppers. But it has only been black folks trying to fill that void and cater to these communities that has even made it better. It's still not great, still not perfect, but it's better. These communities within the beauty industry, all facets of it, have been ignored, have been marginalized, have been left out for years. So people had to come in and try to fix it. Does that make sense? So Peppers, when you come in here with your bullshit satire, you're not making a point that's valid. What you're doing is you are criticizing a marginalized community for being marginalized by white folks. That's what you're doing, and that's why your videos are so gross. So in closing, Miss Peppers, I know this whole thing started with this little nugget in your mind that said, why is it that they can do this thing, but I can't? If they do it, it's fine, but when I do it, I'm going to get criticized. And of course, that is what happened. But there's an answer to your question. There's an answer to why they can do it and you can't do it. And the answer is because your realities are completely different. And not necessarily the individuals, they may be different as well, but historically and within context in these businesses, the reality for white women and black women has been completely different. And the fact that you couldn't even guess that would be the answer to the question is kind of pathetic, but that's your answer.
Now, the beauty industry is one of many industries in the United States with R to the cis roots, which permeate every market area, including skincare. To this day, the skincare sector still has a strong presence of articism and colorism that have continued to influence their practices, such as the inability to meet consumer demands, the absence of diverse representation in beauty brands, and a lack of knowledge on how skincare elements affect melanated skin tones. Now, I want us to discuss consumer demand and whether it plays a role in the beauty industry's practices. Consumer demand shapes the output of practically every industry as vendors aim to provide customers with the products they desire. By this logic, one might assume that skincare companies' lack of product for melanated skin is due to a lack of demand. However, this is far from the truth. Non-palm color customers still have significant buying power in the beauty industry. Research shows that Asian Americans and black women make up a large amount of buyer power and, in fact, average a more impactful buying power than their palm color counterparts. But the demand for skincare products for people of color and black people is not the issue. Rather, these products do not exist. And this is why black people are now coming up to cater for people who look like them. Now, this video from this palm color woman pretending to promote earrings only for palm color women is a stark reminder of the insidious nature of palm color entitlement. Beneath the guise of satire, she attempts to undermine the progress of black-owned businesses and the black community. Now, this is not satire, it's sabotage. It's a deliberate attempt to diminish the significance of black empowerment and the hard-won success of black entrepreneurs. By mocking the very concept of black-centric businesses, she reinforces the harmful narrative that palm color interests should always take precedence. Now, the problem lies in the fact that she's promoting products for palm color women, but in her pretentious ignorance of the historical context. For decades, black people have been systematically excluded from industries, denied opportunities, and marginalized. Now, the beauty and fashion industries in particular have perpetuated harmful stereotypes and ignored the needs of black consumers. Black-owned businesses are not segregationist. They are a necessary response to systemic exclusion. They provide safe spaces for us black people to celebrate our culture, find community, and access products tailored to our needs. Now, when palm color women like her mimic this model, they co-opt the language of empowerment while ignoring the struggles that necessitated it. They erase the history of oppression and reduce the conversation to a shallow, what about me mentality. Now, this behavior perpetuates harm in several ways. Firstly, it diminishes the significance of Black empowerment, implying that palm color interests are equally marginalized. It ignores the historical context of systemic exclusion and ostracism. It co-opts language and strategies from marginalized communities, diluting their impact. It also reinforces palm color entitlement, perpetuating the notion that palm color interests should always take precedence. Now, to those who defend this woman's actions as satire, ask yourself, what's the punchline? Is it funny to mock the struggles of Black people? Is it clever to ignore the systemic inequalities that Black-owned businesses aim to address? The fashion and beauty industries have long excluded Black people and people of color, ignoring our needs and neglecting our existence. The lack of representation and inclusivity has been a stark reality for far too long. But now, Black people are taking matters into their own hands. We're seeing a surge in Black-owned businesses, creating specifically to cater to our community. Now, these entrepreneurs understand the struggles that we face as Black people. When searching for products that match our skin tones, hair textures, and beauty standards, they know what it's like to be invisible in the marketplace, to be told that our features are not desirable or marketable. Now, the beauty industry is a prime example. For years, we've been limited to a handful of shades, forced to settle for products that don't match our skin tones. But now Black entrepreneurs are creating makeup lines, skincare products, and hair care solutions that cater specifically to Black people's needs. Now, this is not segregation. It's self-preservation. It's a response to the industry's failure to include Black people, to see Black people and to value our dollars. When companies claim to be inclusive, it's often nothing more than a marketing ploy, a shallow attempt to appease us without truly understanding our experiences. But Black-owned businesses are different. They're created by Black people for Black people. They understand the struggles, the triumphs, and unique beauty standards. They're not trying to mock us or tokenize us. They're trying to empower us. So I feel people should celebrate Black entrepreneurs who are rising up to fill the gaps left by the fashion and beauty industries. We have finally come to the end of the video, but what do my viewers have to say? Share your thoughts as well in the comment section. Thank you for watching and see you in my next video as I bring you another interesting video.